let's learn how to containerize your Go applications. All right, so before you can get started with this video, make sure you have Go installed and Docker Desktop installed, because you're going to need both of those tool sets in order to pull this off. All right, so I have VS Code up on screen, just a blank project, nothing going on here, and we're going to create a very basic Hello World app. So I'm going to open my terminal, and then I'm going to type in go mod init containerized go app and hit enter. Okay, so we created a new module, and then let's go ahead and touch main.go to create that file. I'm going to open that file. Let's close our terminal because we don't need this quite yet. And we'll set up calling it kind of the standard things that you normally would in a Go project. So package main, and then I'll do func main, and then we're just going to log println hello world like this. All right. So I'm going to save. I save that. I'm going to open the terminal and run main.go, which should just echo out hello world, which it does. So we have our application kind of set up and ready to go. Now let's create a Docker file, which is going to enable that functionality that lets us build the container image we want. So I'm going to add a new file here. We're going to name this Docker file, all one word. And then now, typically in a Docker file, you're going to have really four main points. You have from, which tells you the base image you're going to be creating this off of. You have the workdir, which is going to set the working directory for copying your files into. You have copy commands, and then you have your entry point, which kind of tells the container image, like when it starts, when the container is created based off of an image, what command should it start in order to start the container, so to speak. We're also going to add in a run command, which lets us pipe in a bash script more or less in order to do stuff. And we're going to use that in order to build our Go code inside the container. So technically, if this is being created inside of some kind of DevOps environment, you're not even going to need Go installed on the runner, the host machine that's going to do all the processing, because we're going to do the processing within the base container image, which has Go installed in it. And if any of that was confusing, I'm going to explain that again as I go along. So the first line, let's actually close our terminal out here. The first line is going to be from, and we're going to create a container image based off of golang 1.20, and this is when I run this, provided I don't have this image pulled down on my computer, it's going to reach out to Docker Hub, pull down the Golang container image, and use that as the base image to start off to build this container. So we're going to set the workdir to /app, and that means that any commands that occur after this specific line is going to be done within a directory inside of the container image called /app. So we're going to copy go.mod directly into that directory. So just put a period there, and then we're going to copy also main.go into that directory as well. Now we can use the run command to build our container image. So I'm going to say go build. We're going to do -o because we want to create a file called bin, which is going to be the executable binary that's going to run our code. And then dot is basically telling Go to build the code that is in the current directory. And again, since we set the workdir to /app, this is going to run inside of that app as well, where these two files are going to exist. And then the last bit that we're going to do is entry point, which is going to contain it's going to contain the command that the container image is going, or the container is going to run once it starts up. And that's going to be /app /bin, since that is where this binary is going to live. When line 8 runs and it builds the code into a file called bin, since our workdir is set to /app, the entry point is going to be /app /bin. And this essentially is our Docker file that we can use to build the code inside of here. So now if I open up my terminal again, and we can run the necessary commands in order to build this. So I'll say docker build period, and then I'm going to add a tag here of go containerized latest. This last bit is optional, but we're going to use this in a future video, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of that now. We'll hit enter. Also, it makes it a little bit easier when we're running it, so we can actually call the container image I guess the friendly container name, which in this case is the go containerized latest, as opposed to the hash that Docker will typically assign to an image when it creates it without being tagged. So we're going to wait a minute here and just let the process of building this image finish. All right, so now that the image is finished building, let's go ahead and list out the images I have on my computer. So I can do this with docker image ls, and then let's grep our go containerized. Hit enter. So we have, and I'll expand this out just to get a little more space to work with. We have a single image of Go containerized. The tag is latest. Here's our hash, and it was built 39 seconds ago. There's the size of the image itself. Okay, so our image exists on our computer. Let's minimize this again and get back to our standard working space. And let's go ahead and run the container. And I can do this. Let's see, I'm going to clear this out. It will say docker run containerized, Go containerized, latest. And it just prints out hello world. Now, not a very impressive example, but since I'm using Docker run instead of Go run, we're not using the local code that has been written inside of a VS Code directory. We're actually creating a container based off of that Go containerized image, and we're running that instead of the code directly. Okay, so now that you understand kind of the basics on how to create an image, let's get a little bit more of a real-world example, and let's build an API using the framework that I like building APIs in Go with, which is Gin. So I'm going to type in go get you github.com gin.gonic/gin, and let's go ahead and hit enter, and this is going to install the Gin package locally inside of our project, so this way we can actually build something off of it. Okay, so now that this is running, let's go ahead and close the terminal. Or now that this is installed, let's go ahead and close the terminal. Let's go back to main.go and let's get rid of this stuff here. Now, we're going to import two packages. The first one is going to be net/HTTP, and the second one is going to be github.com/gingonic/gin. Okay, it's going to have red squigglies because we haven't actually written any code yet. Don't save it, otherwise Go is going to remove those. But let's create our router. R is equal to gin.default. And then let's go ahead and add a get, get handler off of /ping, which is just going to respond with Pong. This is pretty standard. This comes directly from the source code, I believe, for Gin. So I'll say r.get, and then we'll say /ping, func gin.context. And this is going to say c.json. http.status, okay, gin.h, and then let's pass in message is going to be equal to Pong. So what's going on here essentially is when we execute a GET request against our Go API to /ping to that route, it's just going to respond with a simple JSON message of Pong. And then finally, r.run is going to run the API. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, and let's test this out. Before we even get into the Docker portion of it, I'll say go run main.go. Okay, so we got some outputted stuff from Gin, which is basically saying since the port environment variable port is undefined, it's running on port 8080 by default. So let's go ahead and create a test to make sure that we're getting this back. Now, I use the VS Code REST client plugin just because I like creating my requests directly. We don't want to do that. I like creating my requests directly in text and storing them along with the repository. So I'm going to create a file named test.htp, and then we'll say git http://localhost. Port is 8080, and /ping is the name of that route. I'm going to save this. Let's get a little more room here. And then you can see with that plugin installed, I get this link here that I can click on that lets me send the request. And if I do that, we get a JSON message of Pong. So our API is running locally on our machine using Go and working. Now let's see what we have to do in order to get this inside of Docker. I'm going to kill the API to stop it from running. I'm going to head back to our Docker file. Now, most of this can actually stay the same. The one difference is because we've added external dependencies into our Go package, we actually have to run a second command before we build it, and that is go get. And what go get's going to do is it's going to read the contents of go.mod, and it's going to crawl the web wherever these modules exist or the packages exist and bring them down and install them. Now, when we ran go get, we ran it in the context of our local computer and not within the process of building our container image. So that's why we have to do this here. So yeah, let's go ahead and do this one more time. I'm going to actually just use the up command to get my go build container latest, because we're not changing anything. Actually, no, we will change something. We'll do /API just to get a different container image. So go containerized API and latest, and I'm going to hit enter. And this is going to go ahead and build the container again. I'm going to fast forward this because it's going to take a little bit longer. But if you pay attention to the screen, you'll see that go get command get running. It's actually running right now. So just pay attention here while I fast forward. All right, so now that the image is built, we are going to run it again, very similar to what we did earlier, but we're going to do some things a little bit different. Now, in order to kind of differentiate the fact that this code is running inside the container image as opposed to on my development works machine, my development machine, we are going to specify an environment variable of port, and we're going to set that to 9000. And that's going to tell Jin to run the API on port 9000 instead of running on 8080, which is the default. And then we also have to tell Docker to pass port 9000 on our host machine to 9000 on our container image. So let's go ahead and do just that. So Docker run, we're going to do -e for the environment variable port. All caps is the environment variable we want, and we're going to set that equal to 9000 like so. And then we're also going to do -p to specify the port that we want to pass through. And that's going to be 9000 from the host and 9000 on the container. So finally, we'll say go -containerized API latest, which is the name of the image with the tag, and hit enter. Now you can see inside of the output, it's not colorized. That's because it's running within the context of that container and not in my ZSH session. It detected that port 9000 was set on the environment variables, and it's running on port 9000. So if I go back to my test.htp and I click send request again, this should fail because it is not running on port 8080. But if I change this to 9000 like that and run it, we actually get that same response back because the container image handled the request instead of the local Go code, which is not running. Hopefully after watching this video, you have a better understanding on how you can put your Go applications inside of a container and easily distribute them to any system that supports containers. Do me a favor, if you've ever built containers, whether with Go or any language, leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of that process. If you enjoyed this kind of content, you also might enjoy my series on how to build a Discord bot written with Go. And with that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.